Before smartphones, we had notebooks. Remember when we didn't have smartphones in our hands all the time? When everything we had to remember didn't live in a glowing screen, but on a page, in a notebook, or a diary? I want you to go back in time with me. Not too long ago, in the late 90s and early noughties, when I was studying and working and figuring life out. Back then, I always carried two things with me almost everywhere I went: a diary where I would write my appointments, events, my plans, dates, and deadlines, and a notepad, my daily anchor. And every time something would come to mind, an errand, an idea, something I absolutely had to do, like pay rent, I would jot it down. There was no pressure to do it right now. If that was me now, I would immediately pick up my phone and resort to an app to get something done in and amongst of what I was doing in the moment. But back then, I would write it and it would be held there until I was ready later, when back at my desk, whether it was in my lunch hour or once I got home, back in my room, in my house share or flat share, and I would have a seat at my desktop computer with a cup of tea. Used to be Earl Grey. I was obsessed with Earl Grey, living in Stratford, East London. And with focus and with time, I would return to my list. I'd have it open beside my keyboard and I would begin. And I would always start with the hardest thing first. So if it was a bill that I had to pay, something I had to complete as a deadline, I would always do that first. And I would work my way through the list. And it was really satisfying. It was calming. Whenever I would have something come to mind, I knew that it would go on the list and the list would get tended to. And that notepad, it just wasn't a task list. It wasn't only a list and a place for notes, it was a place for reflections where I would note down any lines I was reading, any quotables, and something that I would write in if I'd heard someone say something beautiful at a talk or at an event. And it really helped me to protect my attention and my energy. Because when I wasn't writing in my list, in that protected list, I was busy doing and being immersed in the task, the craft, the moment. But now we don't write things down. We act on them immediately. We reach for our phones and we complete the task. We do that multitasking thing, which people brag about. And then we check another message, and then we have a scroll, and another, and another. And we jump from thought to app to event and to scroll. And this is what is called productivity. And so much has been lost. Those in between moments, the pause before action, the space where reflection lives, the quiet satisfaction of writing, of thinking, of being, it's gone. So here's what I'm wondering. What if we went back just a little? What if we used a notepad again? What if we used a notebook? One for our plans and appointments, and another for daily tasks, for thoughts, and your sparks of insight. What if instead of reacting, you just wrote it down and let it wait, let it settle, let yourself return to it with full presence? I urge you to try it for a few days. Ditch the phone for task tracking and carry a little notepad, just like me over here in this teeny tiny moleskin pad that I have inside my filofax. I'll link these in the description, but for a few days, let your thoughts live somewhere else, somewhere real, and let me know how it goes. What changes? What improves? What surprises you? You know, not everything needs to be done now or in an instant. Some things can just be held, they can be written, and they could be revisited in time, not in an instant. So let's reclaim our focus. Let's reclaim our lives, one page at a time. If you are enjoying these videos on my Substack and my YouTube channel, then please do consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next one.